Well, now that the oral arguments are over, what happens next? Robert Ray's a member of Trump's legal team. He joins us now. Robert, I'm so tired of covering this. I get Cipollone's name pronunciation wrong. How good is that? Where do we go from here?
I think that we are in the process of counting votes to see whether or not there will be witnesses. And I imagine for many senators, how the questioning goes and the answers that are given over the next 2 days may have some bearing. It's obviously their judgment to make, and that we'll know the answer presumably on Friday, probably after a very, very long day of debate relative to that question.
Now, Robert, there was a lot of jawboning about the fact that Pat decided to yield back a lot of his time. Like CNN and MSNBC were saying, well, we expect him to speak for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I thought it was really quite smart for him to, like, what else are we going to say? It's basically so obvious that we're going to give you the luxury of time back, which I think a lot of these senators probably really liked.
I think they appreciated it. I think we also did what we promised we would do at the outset. Look, the bottom line, as you have recognized for some time, we don't have trials just as sort of roving fact gatherers to decide anything under the sun. The task at hand is to have a trial to determine whether or not it's appropriate to remove the president from office. Period. End of story. Once you've made your argument with regard to that question, which is, after all, the only question to be decided, I think it's time to sit down and let the senators, and put your faith and trust in them, as Pat Cipollone said at the end, and respect and abide by their wisdom. They're the people's elected representatives in this body, and that's what they're elected to do. And I
thought it was really refreshing that after Nadler basically accusing the Senate of being co-conspirators with Trump, and Cipollone comes along and says, why don't we all start to work together? Why do the Republicans and Democrats start working together for the common good? Do the things that you were sent here to do. That was actually really inspiring, I thought. And I think people who aren't really political watch that. They're probably saying to themselves, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Sure, it does. And I will say also, in connection with your panel, this very question, by the way, is not in a vacuum. During the Andrew Johnson impeachment, since it was very close to the end of Andrew Johnson's unexpired term that occurred as the result of the assassination of President Lincoln, they clearly and intently focused on the question, why would we want to remove a president from office when there's an election coming up?
Bingo.
And as a result of that, Ulysses Grant was elected president. So don't tell me that
Robert, we got to get out, but I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Sure.
Get some rest.